For the rest of the world, Minneapolis might have started breaking following the death of George Floyd, but for the black residents of the region, it has been a broken city since the beginning of the 21st century. Due to the disinvestment in black income, health, academic improvement, and home ownership, racial disparity has always been on the rise in the city. But that still seems trivial compared to the police brutality of the Minneapolis PD against colored and black people. In the short period of 2010 to 2020, the Minneapolis police had killed 11 people. In 2015, they had shot Jamar Clark, but there were no charges as the prosecution said the police officer acted in self-defense. The next year, Philando Castile, another black man, was shot, leading to long protests in the region. But it was George Floyd's heinous death at the hands of Derek Chauvin that shook the whole country and brought thousands to the streets of Minneapolis and other cities. The video of Floyd begging Chauvin to take his knee off his neck, pleading "I can't breathe" went viral on social media, and his last words later became one of the binding forces and symbols of the protests. The next morning, on May 26, the police released a statement describing Floyd's death to be due to medical distress, but claimed it was nullified once the video circulated on social media. The very afternoon, thousands of protesters marched peacefully to the police station. Police officers involved in Floyd's death worked. Throughout the process, the protesters chanted slogans on their megaphones and held signs. However, later that evening, a small group separated from the protesters and started vandalizing buildings and throwing water bottles. The police were ordered to fire rubber bullets and tear gas to push the protesters back. Sadly, even the non-violent ones. At this point, the crowd went unruly, clashing with the officers. However, this bunch only consisted of a few hundred people as compared to the thousands of protesters who peacefully marched for the rights of black people. The police had scapegoated the few violent protesters to give a negative image to the otherwise considerably peaceful protest. During these protests, nearly 600 protesters were arrested by the police on different charges. Recently, when people protested about the Daunte Wright killing, another 150 people were arrested. Moreover, 35 arrests took place at a New Year's Eve demonstration, while another 50 happened. The reasons for these arrests were quite petty, leading the activities to demand the freedom of these protesters. While the police had made these arrests to step down dissent, these protests are, in fact, saviors of the nation. A protester who was there to witness the arrest said that his experience made him think that most people don't go out to protest in fear of being beaten up and arrested. Looking at the police using tear gas and other munitions on protesters, he wondered if it's safe to go to a protest. Despite these fears, protesters have shown up at every act of police brutality, holding the government accountable and presenting their demands peacefully. Anika Bowie, the VP of Minneapolis NAACP, said that she and others would continue to show up for the community to challenge the system and ensure that justice prevails. Echoing her thoughts, the Visual Black Justice, an activist group, put up signs saying that it's better to protest than simply accept injustice. Needless to say, these protesters are our heroes, since they're active in the fight against injustice despite the increasing fear of police brutality. Effective police brutality on black mental health. However, it's not just the fear of being arrested at the site of protest that's affecting their community. Police brutality, in general, has a significant impact on the mental health of black Americans. A Washington University study showed that black Americans tend to have more bad mental health days when incidents of police brutality of anti-black violence take place. A co-author of the study, Hedwig Lee, said that we need to dismantle racism in order to improve our population's mental health. Another co-author, David Scheid, said it's increasingly evident that racism is not just a moral and social crisis but also a concern for public health since it raises the risk of mental health problems. Moreover, the researchers said that the immediate effect of such incidents is not only limited to the region where brutality took place. Instead, the effect reverberates through the country, affecting black Americans elsewhere too. Another study took place at the University of Utah that proved the adverse mental health effect of anti-black violence on the community's mental health. The study authors gathered data from Google Trends surrounding 47 high-profile cases of police brutality from 2013 to 2017. The study involved both white and black respondents. While the black respondents said that They had more poor mental health days when such incidents were reported. The mental health of white respondents did not correspond with these events' timing or occurrence. David Curtis, the study author, reported that black peer mental health is actually associated with accountability and injustice, since most people had bad days when courts failed to make just decisions against police officers involved in black murders. Alexander Tsai, an educator at Harvard University, said that the media has a role to play in this too. They should weigh the benefits of documenting events versus the possibility of inflicting racialized trauma on a national scale. The George Floyd or Dante Wright protests were not the first of their kind, but they catalyzed a movement that's now spreading like wildfire. While the unjust system and media might try to portray the protesters as rioters, it's our responsibility to see and appreciate the heroism in their actions. As for the fight for justice, it's still pending, but hopefully, this distress will not be passed on to the next generation. It ends with us.